Welcome back to our C# bootcamp. In this session, we're going to explore a static member and static classes. These are a powerful tool for managing shared data and functionality on your application. So, in C#, the static keyword is used to define member or classes that are shared across all instances or are independent of instance altogether. So, we're gonna say static class cannot be instantiated, and that class that can contain only static member, and on the other hand we have a static member. That one is gonna be a field or a method or a property or even event that belong to the class rather than any specific instance. Typically, contains utility functionality like math, date, time. So let's go to when and why I have to use static. I'm gonna start by the advantage of using static member and class. We're gonna say the first one, shared state. Allow all instances of a class to share a single piece of data. Second, utility function. It's gonna provide methods that don't require an object instance, like math.square root. Number 3, memory efficiency. It's gonna avoid duplicating a memory or duplicating a member across multi-instance. And definitely the global access, which is gonna make the data and method globally accessible without instantiating a class. So when I'm gonna use this static member and classes, we're gonna say definitely for utility class or global constant like configuration setting, and shared data like public static read-only string, app name. So this app name gonna be act as a global. We're gonna say it for a counter or setting example, or a single tone pattern, which we're gonna cover it throughout our course. So in single tone pattern, static member are often used in the implementation of static or single tone pattern. Let's demonstrate an example on top of Visual Studio. Here we have a class, call it math utility of type static. That one gonna organize reusable math operation without requiring an instance or object of that class. Inside that class we have two static method, actually very famous, very easy, straightforward. Add two number and subtract both of them. Also we have a counter class, which it have one attribute, call it count. That one gonna be globally across all the user. And we have static method, call it increment, that have one count plus plus. So we can say counter class here gonna track a shared count across all the users inside this program. So let's have here a look inside the main. Without instantiating any object, as you can see, we directly are using the method from math utility dot, and we are assigning the first number 5 and second number 10. Let me execute this application and have a look about the result. Here, as expected, first he add the increment, so 5 plus 10 gonna be the result here, gonna be 15. The result of the add gonna be 15, and I did 2 increment, so the number of the increment happen here is 2. So you can see here we are using counter.count to calculate how many number I did the increment. Here as well, I would like to highlight about some common mistakes maybe you're gonna face. Let me go over some common mistake developer make with static members. The first one is misusing static field for instance data, gonna lead to bugs and intended behavior. Ignore thread safety, can cause race condition in multi-threaded application, or using static for all method, which is gonna reduce flexibility for your code. So let me close this topic by saying static member and classes are very good for managing shared functionality and data but they should be used very carefully. In the next session, we're gonna explore another topic. See you there.